Today we are installing the RUBY 3m by 4m greenhouse using a foundation of piles. Tools required for this installation: a shovel, a screw gun, level, hammer, cord for measuring diagonals, 6m tape measure, construction or utility knife, tin snips, wrench spanner number 8, tech screw driver number 8. The greenhouse set consists of gables, double arches, bottoms, package with fittings, galvanized band, polycarbonate sheets. Additionally, we are going to use galvanized piles for the foundation. Begin with the assembly of the greenhouse on the piles with a connection to the bottom of the greenhouse. These should be 10 to 15 centimeters from the edge, and then an interval of 1 meter from each pile to the other. The piles are screwed to the bottom of the greenhouse using the tapping screws with flat cap. Carefully, the T-joints of the bottom should also be clamped by holding the pile for better fixation. Next, dig the holes for the piles. One by one, the piles are carefully hammered into the ground with the help of a small block of wood, so as not to damage the holding capture of the pile. Now, check the alignment of the bottom with a level. In the same way, the second side of the bottom is assembled and connected to the piles. First, you measure the distance between the two sides. This should be 3 meters. Pay special attention to the diagonals between the corners of the foundation. These must be the same. Now, check the level of the two bottoms. The assembly of the greenhouse frame is continued with the assembling of the arcs. The double arcs consist of 3 parts. Connect the arc parts together. Then we fix the parts with self-tapping screws from both sides. Insert the double arcs into the plugs on the bottom. Set the arcs so that the holes for the upper guide are on one side. Next, the double arcs are fastened in the corresponding points by the upper guides with screws and nuts. The gables of the greenhouse are assembled according to the instructions. The side parts of the gable are inserted into the upper and lower connecting elements. The inserted parts are now fastened by the tapping screws with a flat cap. To cut polycarbonate, put the gable on a flat surface so that the window and door open upwards. In order to facilitate the assembly of the polycarbonate, we recommend marking drill holes in the appropriate places according to the instructions. Next, the pre-marked holes are drilled with roofing self-tapping screws. The transparent protective film should now be removed from both sides of the polycarbonate sheet. Make sure that the side of the film with the UV protection layer is on the outside. Watch out! The polycarbonate sheet should cover most of the gable area. The polycarbonate sheet should be laid on the other side with an overlap of about 2 to 3 mm. Then the polycarbonate is fastened with the roofing self-tapping screws on the gables. Be careful not to tighten screws too tight. The polycarbonate sheet should not bend under the self-tapping screw. Then cut the polycarbonate along the outer edge of the gable with a utility knife. Now, cut the opening for the folding window. Following the same principle, the second gable is processed. Follow the instructions. Cover the gable with the rest of the polycarbonate sheet. We leave a distance of 1 to 2 mm from the already fastened polycarbonate. Do the same on the second gable. You only need one polycarbonate sheet for 2 gables. Dig the holes for the piles under each gable. Then the gables are inserted into the bottoms. All lengthwise guides should be fastened to the gables with screws, washers and nuts. The piles are put into the pre-dug holes and fastened with the self-tapping screws to the gables. The gables should be fixed to the bottom by self-tapping screws with a flat cap. Cut the door and window hinges with a utility knife at the gable of the greenhouse. Subsequently, the handles are mounted in the factory holes on the doors and folding windows of the greenhouse. From the inside of the door or the folding window, the lock strip is placed on the handle pin and secured with tapping screws. Then the angles and hooks are mounted. For the later attachment of the polycarbonate sheets, we mark the arcs at a distance of 30 cm above and below from the middle guide. Then we drill the holes by a roofing self-tapping screw. Place the prepared polycarbonate sheet with UV protected side facing up on the arcs and the gable. Remove in advance the transparent protective film from the inside and outside of the sheet. Place the polycarbonate in such a way that the sheet protrudes 4 to 5 cm beyond the front. Make sure that the last polycarbonate sheet also protrudes 4 to 5 cm over the gable. The overlap on the other polycarbonate sheets should be about 10 cm. For the time being, we attach the polycarbonate sheets with a self-tapping screw without tightening them. At the top, the zinc band should be laid along the arcs and gables. Then remove the previously inserted screw and fix the galvanized band in the same place. The galvanized band is fastened with roofing screws along the pre-drilled holes. Watch out! When attaching the polycarbonate to the greenhouse frame, the galvanized band should be fastened from top to bottom while being lightly tightened. Remove the unneeded galvanized band with the tin snips. Finally, we retighten all the nuts on the greenhouse frame. The greenhouse is now ready for use.